Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Hey, we have a lot, and I mean a lot to get to tonight. What we're going to do, I do this each and every year. We're going to talk about how the Dodgers have built the dynasty. We're going to talk about how they got here. The complete, one thing I always talk about, and I know it's maybe a little bit different from some people. I know it's kind of maybe a contrarian way of looking at things, to where I know a lot of people just say, hey, let's just get the 9 best players, put them in the lineup, and see how it bakes. Okay, I would rather formulate a plan and put a plan together to where, because baseball is so hard, if all of your expectations are just everybody gets a hit every time up, then that doesn't work. So you have to create metrics, you have to create goals and objectives that are reachable even for, maybe your bottom 3 players or the bottom of your lineup or whatever it may be. That can't be just get a hit every single time. So I like to have balance. I like for things to be complete. I like to have different styles of offensive players. I like to have 3 or 4 guys in the middle of the lineup that are 3 true outcome guys. They strike out a lot, which means they don't hit it to double plays, right? Which also means that they see a lot of pitches. That's a good thing. Then they walk a lot, which means also they see a lot of pitches. And then they hit a home run. They hit a lot of home runs, which is obviously a very good thing. I like to have about 3 or 4 of those guys. I like to have guys like a Mookie Betts, a Shohei Ohtani at the top of the lineup that get on base a lot and have high batting averages. And then at the bottom of the lineup, I like to have guys that can move the ball, high on base guys that'll draw walks, not strike out, move the ball forward, hit behind runners, bunt if they need to, and put the ball in play. I think that goes back to my Stephen Kwan fit part of what the Dodgers maybe, how they could make their offense better. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this to where I think whenever we get done with our conversation tonight but I'm binge watching Landman. Is Landman good? I'll have to see. I'll have to check that one out. That looks like a good one. I believe that's on Netflix. But I think when you're done seeing kind of the way the Dodgers have built this thing, I think you're going to see what I'm talking about with an offense that I like to build in terms of being consistent. It's complete. It's not just one style. So the Dodgers didn't just go get all superstar free agents. They didn't just go get everybody via trade. They don't just have everybody on the margins. I think what you're going to see with the way the Dodgers have built this dynasty is they've done it in every which way. It's a complete and it's a whole process. Paramount Plus, okay, for Landman, yeah. It's a complete and it's a whole process. The Dodgers, they pulled the trigger on the top free agents. They've done a great job of finding guys off the waiver wires, the DFA wires, the release wires, those kinds of things. They found the guys like Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, Evan Phillips. They've done it through ridiculous trades that we're going to talk about tonight. And so it's not just a one-way takes all, which is why I defend ferociously when people say the Dodgers are just buying a championship. No, they're not. Watch this show, please. I like to do this show. Yes, it is Sunday Fun Day. I like to do this show every year just to kind of show whoever wants to watch and pay attention and again, the link to this show is in. I will stop doing this anytime anybody wants to join. If anybody does join, I will stop in the middle of what we're doing here, and we will bring in our whoever wants to join, and it will be audio only, no video tonight. So let's get in. Then also, we're going to have a big Down the Farm. The Down the Farm tonight, the way I'm going to do this, we've been talking with Jay back and forth. I'm going to try to scaffold this to where it has relevance, A, to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then it kind of has a chronological order to it. So I'm going to start out tonight's Down the Farm with Oklahoma City players that may not, like Dalton Rushing, may not start in Oklahoma City, but I'm going to include him in there. Hae-Sung Kim might not start in Oklahoma City. Alex Freeland, guys like that. We're going to go over the AAA guys, the guys that are either might start with LA, might start with Oklahoma City, might be a quad A guy or like a Jack Dreyer, might end up being a full-time major leaguer, okay? And we're going to do the position players tonight. So we're going to talk about Alex Freeland. We're going to talk about Hassan Kim, Dalton Rushing, Ryan Ward, Austin Gauthier. And it's not going to be coming from me. It's going to be coming directly from their hitting coach, Dylan Ashotka, and it's going to be coming directly from the bench coach, Chris Gutierrez. They are going to talk about the guys that are imminent to LA that might help this year. So I'm very excited. Hey, what's up, Casey, you big Dodger dog? Yes. Hey, Hugo Valise, thank you so much for joining tonight. Let everybody know that Dodgers Dogs is part of the Dodgers Daily Network, is live right now. So, okay, let's get into our show for tonight. Let's bring this over. And there is absolutely no denying whatsoever that the Dodgers have been very, very aggressive in the free agency market. I mean, does it get any bigger than Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto? Now, as I do this, I'm not getting paid to do this, okay? And I don't say that to say anything other than, so I put in the time that I have available to do this kind of research. So if there's a trade or if there is a single player or a person that I miss, then please let me know. Do not feel afraid to let me know in the chat who you think I might have missed. I clicked that over. There we go. So if I miss somebody, just let me know, and we will get after this. So there's no denying at the Dodgers. How have they built this dynasty? Well, you have to start, and I know this is frustrating for Dodgers fans, especially when you hear other teams' fans say, well, the Dodgers are buying them a world championship. Okay. There's a large element of truth to that, okay? There is no hiding behind that. The Dodgers have as much or more money than anybody else, and they spend it. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what, I mean, I think Dodgers fans would be frustrated if they didn't. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Freddie Freeman, Teo Hernandez, Tanner Scott, Roki Sasaki. Now, there's only one, maybe two other teams, maybe the Mets, the Yankees. There's only a couple of other teams that can pull this. Look at this picture. There's only a couple of other teams out there that can pull this haul off, okay? So has the free agency market been a advantage for the Dodgers that not every team has? 100%, absolutely, completely, totally, and entirely. Do Dodgers fans need to apologize for that? Does Andrew Friedman need to apologize for that? Does anybody related to being a fan or part of the front office that's constructing this, or anybody who sells the hot dogs, does anybody need to apologize for that? Absolutely 100% no, not whatsoever, okay? So yes, the free agency market and having more money than almost, maybe everybody else, and if not almost everybody else, definitely has played a huge, huge, huge factor in the Dodgers building this dynasty. But so has the Dodgers. So what they've done is they've overpaid for their superstars, because the superstar type players are the only ones that can live up to an overpay. Your average to a little bit above average player, if you overpay them, especially in length of contract, is not going to live up to that, and that's whenever you get into problems. So the Dodgers have overpaid, if there is such a thing for an Ohtani. They've overpaid for the superstars, and then they've been very, very diligent with their, I don't want to call them role players, but the guys, the players around their superstars. Evan Phillips, he was DFA'd, yes, by the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays are considered by a lot of people as the Dodgers light. So if he's being DFA'd by the Rays, that's a pretty egregious error that they don't normally make. And I say that only to say that's a pretty darn good pickup for the Dodgers and their pro scouts in finding a guy in Evan Phillips that even the Tampa Bay Rays were thinking, hey, we need to DFA this guy, which they did. Ryan Brazier, who obviously wasn't a part of last year, but nobody can ever be not indebted to him for what he did in 2024, and especially to start the bullpen game against the Padres. Without that, Dave Roberts might not be the manager. the Dodgers don't win the 2024 World Series, probably don't win the 2025 World Series, because once you win that first one, it takes that monkey off your back. It relaxes you. And who knows where the Dodgers are at. So Ryan Brazier has been instrumental. And even though he wasn't, I'm going to go ahead and say, even though he wasn't a part of last year's roster, the fact that he helped win in 2024, once you win it the first time, it becomes easier to win it the second time. I know it's harder to go back to back, but there's a certain concept to that. So diligence, Ryan Brazier, released by Boston. Evan Phillips, DFA'd by the Rays. The trades. You say, oh, well, you just go Mookie Betts and not what? Well, okay. Well, how about this trade that the Dodgers made for Mookie Betts? Y'all remember Jeter Downs? The Dodgers had a chance to get him back after he was DFA'd off the 40-man roster for the Yankees. The Dodgers traded Jeter Downs and Connor Wong. And basically, also they also got JoJo, Josiah Gray, in the deal with Jeter Downs. And JoJo was a really big deal. JoJo was such a big deal that he was a large chip. And if you remember, the Dodgers bring in Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. Now, that Trey Turner-Max Scherzer deal did not lead to a World Series championship, but it did lead to a lot of success and a World Series, okay? So when you put it all together, the Dodgers lost Keibert Ruiz, Connor Wong, Jeter Downs, JoJo, Yasiel Puig, Alex Wood, and Matt Kemp. And in return, they got Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Max Scherzer. I mean, are you kidding me? That's incredibly good front office work. That's incredibly good professional scouting for the Dodgers. And that's how, I'm anxious to see if Evan Phillips returns to his form after surgery. I am too, CNev, no doubt. That's how the Dodgers ended up with Mookie Betts. They didn't go out and pay him off the free agency market, okay? They went out and did incredible work in the trade market to get Mookie Betts. Do you guys like the home run from Miguel Rojas in the 8th inning of Game 7? What's being tabbed as the greatest World Series game in the history of baseball by a lot of people. Do you like Miguel Rojas? Well, do you know who they traded him for? Jacob Amaya. Now, Jacob, I love Jacob. I've communicated with him, his dad. His grandpa was a legend in the SoCal area, and I love Jacob. He was a defensive wizard, but he didn't work out at the major league level. And whenever the Dodgers made this trade, I can tell you for a fact that Dodgers fans were like, what are we doing? They're the same player. Miguel Rojas and Jacob Amaya are the same player, but yet we're getting the older one. Why are we doing this? Now, I love Jacob, but I mean, this is not even close. Even before Miguel Rojas made the play at second base in the World Series at home plate to save the World Series, and before he hit the home run, this still was just an absolutely incredible trade that the Dodgers made that has been incredibly in their favor. The Mookie Betts trade, getting Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, and Max Scherzer for Keibert Ruiz, Connor Wong, Jeter Downs, JoJo, Yasiel Puig, Alex Wood, and Matt Kemp. That's an incredible fleece for the Dodgers, by the Dodgers. Miguel Rojas, Jacob Amaya, that's an incredible fleece. That's incredible. Not good. That's incredible front office work. Tommy Edman, Michael Kopech, which Michael Kopech helped in 2024. Tommy Edman has helped in both years. They got both of these players from Miguel Vargas, Alexander Albertus, General Perez, a player to be named later. That's what this PTBNL is. And cash. Miguel Vargas, I love the young man. I've had a chance to talk to him multiple times. He hasn't worked out, okay? Alexander Albertus, he hasn't done anything that's any better than a Joe Andrew Vargas or Kellen Lindsey or Emil Morales, shortstop type guy. Gerald Perez, the Dodgers have plenty of infielders, okay? Player to be named later, I don't know who that is, and cash. This is another piece of work from the front office that isn't good. This was incredible front office work. Not only did the Dodgers need a super utility guy like Tommy Edman, Tommy Tanks, a guy that, I mean, just think about the contributions Tommy Edman, well, hell, he was the NLCS MVP in 2024. And think about the incredible defense he played in 2025 to help win both World Series. And you got him and Michael Kopech in the same trade for that return right there. I mean, are you kidding me? So, yeah, as I go back and we look at this haul of free agents, yeah, that is something that almost I don't think any other team could do. And that's an advantage the Dodgers have. No other team's smart enough to get Ryan Brazier off of being released, or Evan Phillips off the DFA, and then also be able to recuperate them with the developmental system and get them to be the type of players they are. Nobody else is smart enough to get Mookie Betts, to get Trey Turner, Max Scherzer for Keibert Ruiz, Connor Wong, Jeter Downs, JoJo, Yasiel Puig, Alex Wood, Matt Kemp. No other organizations are making trades like that. No other organization is making trades for a guy who saved the World Series for you last year, for a guy that had a cup of coffee and that's it at the major league level, for Jacob Amaya. Nobody else is going and getting Tommy Edman, who was the MVP of the NLCS. Jay Oshiro's on the line, the MVP of the NLCS, and made tremendous defensive plays last year in the World Series to win the second back-to-back World Series for the Dodgers. So, hey, we have a special guest here. I've got a buzz there, Jay. Can you hear me? Okay, very good, very good. I've got Jay Oshiro on the line, and let me bring this back. Jay, we have communicated many different times. I have never gotten to speak to you. How in the heck are you? Thank you so much for joining.
I'm doing great. Long time, first time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on in.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up another great trade, which was which was Caleb Ferguson for Alex Vesia and Kyle Hurt back in
Dylan Floro.
For Dylan Floro. Yep.
Yeah, I've got it up on the screen right now. That was actually the next one I was headed to.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Got it. Why I'm glad I got in there before you got to it. But the interesting thing about that trade was that there was a bunch of reporting that once Alex Vesia got to the Dodgers, they told him about his spin metrics. Like they said, what do you think about your four-seam fastball metrics? He's like, I have no idea about that. We never went over it in Miami. Yeah. So he didn't understand anything about his his induced vertical break and all of that. And you would know this better than I would, but I'm guessing Kyle Hurt has some similar characteristics in terms of the fastball. So, it's another example where you have analytics and pro scouting working together in the Dodgers organization, and basically, I want to say taking advantage of another team's lack of knowledge. I'm sure that you can't do that on that particular metric anymore across the league, but when that trade was made, you could.
Kyle Hurt, an interesting story about him, Jay. He was drafted by the Marlins and literally never threw a pitch for them, never appeared in a game for them. He was traded before he ever got in a game. And the way that he found out, he was driving down the road and his phone hit a notification, and his ESPN app sent off a notification, and it scrolled across his screen that Kyle Hurt had been traded to the Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
That's how he found out that he got traded to the Dodgers, and it was before he ever threw a pitch for the Marlins. Is that not incredible?
That is incredible. I'll let you go here in a second, but the one question I'm hoping you'll answer tonight is I'm wondering who you're looking forward to seeing at for the first time, maybe at OKC or at Tulsa. I'm sure
I will do that tonight. I will get into a couple of guys. I've got some guys in Oklahoma City that I was going to cover tonight. I will do that first. I will get into probably the Tulsa guys that I'm looking forward to seeing coming up. Then I'll get into a couple of guys that played at Tulsa that might come up to Oklahoma City this year. I will get into that first, and we will go from there.
Great, fantastic. Have a great evening. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Jay, thank you. Every time we do this, come on, man. This is awesome, dude. Thanks.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. See ya. Okay, so Jay Oshiro in the house. Thank you so much, Jay. Yeah, Dylan Floro. Try that on for size. Alex Vesia, Kyle Hurt. That was the next one I was getting to. Tommy Edman for Miguel Vargas, Alexander Albertus, Gerald Perez, a player to be named later, and Cash. So Kyle Hurt, Alex Vesia for Dylan Floro. How about Brusdar Graterol? Hey, we all love Kenton Maeda, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this trade, Maeda Camargo for Gratterall and Luke Raley. Now, don't forget, Luke Raley, was he great with the Dodgers? No. But he did hit a big home run. I think it was like in 2022 to left center field. I can remember like it was yesterday, to help the Dodgers win a big game in a playoff. That may have been 2021, the one with the Giants. And I think it was in August because I had a chance to talk to him in the offseason. So it's not like he didn't help the Dodgers at all. So Brusdar Gratterall for Maeda Camargo, Gratterall and Raley. I think you have to admit that the Dodgers won that trade. Actually, I have the wrong picture on here. That's Tanner Scott there. But Anthony Bonda, cash considerations. Cash considerations. Now, was he perfect last year? No, but there were times to where Anthony Bonda was very, very good. And to think that you got him for cash considerations. Again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be fair. If there's any other fans from other organizations that are watching, the Dodgers have an advantage that other teams don't. It's these guys. It's absolutely these guys. And do you win the 2 World Series back-to-back without these guys? Absolutely, you do not. But I will also make the case, do you win the World Series without Ryan Brazier in 2024? No. Do you win as many do you win as many games or any the 2 World Series without Evan Phillips? No. Do you win without Mookie Betts? I don't think so. Do you win without Miguel Rojas? So here's 2 players on the margin right here. I think you lose to the Padres right then and there if Ryan Brazier doesn't do his job in the bullpen game. You lose Game 7 last year without Miguel Rojas. So, yes, these guys are a huge advantage for the Dodgers that other teams don't have. But the Dodgers have only gotten over and crossed the finish line because of the work they've done either via trade, via free agency. The Dodgers don't win either World Series without Tommy Edman, okay? The Dodgers don't win either World Series without Alex Vesia, okay? Might not win it without Anthony Bonda. Brusdar Gratterall has been fantastic. Now, how about this one, okay? This is the one that just makes me crack up, the one on the left here. How about River Ryan for Matt Beatty? 6 months later, after this trade, of course, the trade was made because with the Padres because the Padres felt like they needed a left-handed major league ready stick. And at that point, Matt Beatty was kind of in the Dalton Rushing role, but Matt Beatty was having more success, showed that he could hit a little bit. And so the Padres traded for what they thought was a major league ready bat. They traded away a young shortstop/pitcher guy named River Ryan that went to a Division II college, okay? Not North Carolina, okay? Division II college in North Carolina, who was coming off of a back injury. So I can understand where they were at. But the way the Dodgers use the developmental system, they made him a pitcher. They got him healthy, made him a PO. This is one of the most incredible fleeces of all time in trades. I'm just telling you. 6 months later, River Ryan was already playing at a higher minor league level than Matt Beatty. Matt Beatty was playing Double-A baseball with the Amarillo Sod Poodles, while River Ryan was with Triple-A Oklahoma City, the Dodgers, at the time. How about the return for Hunter Fiducia, Fetty? I love Fetty. First of all, the Dodgers had an overall for him. They had Dalton Rushing as a backup, okay? The Dodgers lost Hunter Fiducia. Now, this was a 3-team trade. This wasn't just a Dodgers to the Padres, like 1-for-1, like River Ryan and Matt Beatty. This was a 3-team trade. But the Dodgers, when the 3-team trade was over, the Dodgers had given up Hunter Fiducia and in return had gotten Ben Rortvedt. Again, the Dodgers do not win the World Series without Ben Rortvedt, Paul Gervais, and Big Ski, Adam Serwanowski. And by the way, Adam Serwanowski, I've got an interview with him on Tuesday. Going to talk to him. He's Rule 5 eligible. We talked about him last night. I think there's an outside chance, Austin does too, that he makes his major league debut this year. Ben Rortvedt, who the Dodgers, so again, I'm going to say it again. Yes, these guys are huge, no doubt. It's an advantage other teams don't have. Ryan Brazier, you don't win 2024 without him. Evan Phillips, you don't win whatever World Series you've won without him. You don't win without Mookie Betts. You don't win without Miguel Rojas. You don't win without Tommy Edman. You don't win without Alex Vesia. Anthony Bonda has been very good. You probably do win without him, but he's helped, okay? River Ryan, an incredible fleece. You don't win without Ben Rortvedt. And what you gave up was Hunter Fiducia. You still have Paul Gervais, who made his major league debut last year, and Adam Sierwanowski, who splashed onto the scene, still to go with that trade. This is an incredible give for receive that the Dodgers got there. How about this one? Michael Busch, who, yes, he was the exact player that we thought he could become, a 260 guy, an OPS a little over 800, now home runs in between 20 and 30, fairly high strikeouts, fine. Michael Busch, great player for the Cubs. It's a win-win. But the Dodgers had no position for Michael Busch. The Michael Busch did not have a position to play for the Dodgers, so he had no value. He has value as a player, but not to the Dodgers because they had nowhere to play him. The Dodgers got Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope back. This is wrong. That trade, not Matt Beatty. Just eliminate that trade. I didn't take those off from the last screen as I was copy and pasting. So in the Michael Busch trade, you got Jackson Ferris, Zaire Hope. How about this one? Gavin Lux, another guy that the Dodgers, they had peaked his value after he got the sacrifice fly to help win the World Series in 2024, right? He had the great second half of 2024. He had peaked his value, and the Dodgers struck when they peaked his value. Now, people remember, you get Mike Sirota for Gavin Lux. You forget there was also a player to be named later. That player's Charles Davalon. And when we talk about a lot of the young, incredible outfilders, I'm as guilty as anybody else. We talk about Eduardo Quintero. We talk about Jaron Elkins. We talk about Josue De Paula, Zaire Hope, Mike Sirota, Zach Earhart. We talk about James Tibbs. We talk about Cole Myers. Why don't I talk about Charles Davalon more often? This dude can absolutely stroke. So the Dodgers got Mike Sirota and Charles Davalon for Gavin Lux. Not done yet. Dustin May, who is getting ready to be a free agent, the Dodgers, with 3 months left, or however long it was, actually less than that, okay, at the trade deadline, month and a half, 2 months left, whatever. Well, 3 months for the Dodgers because they made the playoffs. How about this? Zach Earhart and James Tibbs for a guy the Dodgers were going to lose at the end of the year. How about that for a return as far as what the Dodgers got? So the question is, has this roster been built or has it been bought? Yes, I'm going to say it again. No doubt about it. No matter how much we want to defend, and I'm doing that tonight on tonight's show, this roster, there's a large part of it that's been bought. You cannot look at this list right here and not make the statement that a large part of this roster has 100% been bought. No question. But it has also been built by guys like Ryan Brazier, Evan Phillips, intelligent trading by Mookie Betts, incredible trading to get Miguel Rojas, Tommy Edman, Alex Vesia, Anthony Bonda, River Ryan, Ben Rortvedt, okay? Guys like Jackson Ferris, Zaire Hope, tremendous prospects in your system. So if you want to know how the Dodgers have been able to win World Series while also rebuilding their farm system while maintaining one of the greatest farm systems, it is because they've gotten the free agents we showed just a minute ago. But it's equal. I'm going to say equal. There's no way anybody can claim that without Miguel Rojas, Evan Phillips, Ben Rortvedt, Tommy Edman, I think I already said Alex Vesia, all these guys, the Dodgers don't win the World Series even with the guys they went and bought. So the built versus bought is even. It's both. The answer is yes, okay? The answer is yes to both of them, and that's the proof. That's where I'm at on that. I wanted to kind of go back over that again and just kind of go over the built versus bought aspect of the way the Dodgers have built this dynasty that they have. So let me actually pull up the Tulsa Drillers statistics, and let's go over some guys. First of all, Jay, let's get into our down on the farm. We're going to make this quick and tidy. let's go over some guys that I'm excited to see at the possible AAA level that I think will be at the AAA level next year. Let me go with a sleeper. I think, first of all, I think a guy that's exciting to see that I think is a little bit under the radar is Noah Miller. But a guy that I'm going to just go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off, and we're going to go with a guy that is obviously on everybody's list, and we're just going to go over it, and we're going to cover it right now. We're going to cover the two guys, and we're going to do it. We covered them last night. We're going to do it again. That's fine. As Jay says a lot, you cannot go over things too many times. Go ahead and mute that, because you never know who's new to the show. So let's go here. This is Josue DePaula. Josue DePaula, him and Zaire Hope both came up to AA Tulsa at the end of last year. Josue DePaula still, I believe, only 21 years old. You might check that yourself. If it's not 21, it's 20, but I think he is 21 years old. A young man that has a world of power, but he has lower launch angles. He's known for his plate discipline, and because of all of that, there's Dickie Jothon. Because of all that, he puts up incredible, and I do mean incredible, WRC pluses, because he does. The thing about it is, I talk about being complete. He does so many parts of the game that are good. He's just a very complete offensive player. I think the biggest question is, will the plate discipline, will that mean that he's too passive as he gets to the upper levels of minor league baseball? And then what position does he play? So Josue DePaula, I am super excited to see him play at the AA level next year. And then who came up with Josue DePaula at the same time, Zaire Hope. Let's get to some video of Zaire Hope. We just talked about him here just a minute ago. Zaire Hope, I believe, started 0 for 8 at the AA level when he came up last year. And then after he went 0 for 8, he absolutely went off. And I think he hit, like 350, 360 in his short stint at AA. So he made the AA transition look fairly easy. And because of that, that's obviously a very exciting thing for Zaire Hope. So another guy at the AA level we talked about last night was Kyle Nevin. But let me go through some other guys that I think could be very exciting to watch at the AA level with Tulsa next year. Hold on, this is a little clunky because I'm by myself here, and I was not prepared for this kind of talk. So let me actually open this up. Give me just a second to open this up, and we will get to, if there's anybody else you want to talk about, just let me know. We'll get to whoever you want to talk about. Okay, so here we go. The first guy I want to talk about in terms of guys that are exciting that I think probably will, at some point, I don't know if they'll start with AA Tulsa next year, but I think we'll eventually make it to AA Tulsa. The first guy I want to talk about, because I think it's more potential than it is anything, and we saw a lot of the potential at the end of last year. That is one Mr. Jake Geloff. This is a guy with super soft hands at third base. He plays a position that the Dodgers are going to need to fill in the future. He's played high level at Virginia. He's very experienced. He likes to hit the ball the other way, so he stays inside the ball very well. But he has a world of power. I mean, this guy, Jake Geloff, can absolutely do that. I mean, he can just absolutely mash. And Austin can get into the statistics a little bit better. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button. Yes, no doubt about it. Dodgers do it all well, no doubt. In general, 4 ways to acquire talent: free agents, draft, international, sign, trade, and reclamation, no doubt. And then here's a little bit of defense from Jake Geloff. So I am super excited about Jake Geloff. I think he's a guy that Dodgers fans, I think he's a guy that will be exciting to watch in spring training. I'm excited to see him in person. I've never seen him actually play in person. So excited to see what he can do if he makes it up to AA Tulsa, which I think it would be a pretty good, I think it would be a disappointment if he did not make it. Here's kind of an under the radar guy that I'm super excited. I think he will make AA Tulsa next year. He actually went up to AAA Oklahoma City whenever Rancho and Oklahoma City were close in California. This is Elijah Hainline. This is a really good middle infield player. Elijah Hainline, he's a little older because he went to Oregon State, and he's a natural shortstop, but he can play anywhere in the infield. He's very experienced. We just had an interview with him. Jay or CNAV, somebody in the chat, if you could link that interview we had with Elijah Hainline in the chat, that would help me out because I am by myself and I don't have time. It'd be too clunky for me to go look that up. But if you just need to know how experienced and how mature Elijah Hainline is and how confident he is, just go watch that interview with Elijah Hainline. He is probably not, one of the top most talented players in the system, but I will say he has maybe the most complete set of skills offensively and defensively that of any prospect in the system, because he can hit the ball at the middle, he can hit the ball the other way, he can pull the ball, he has pull side power, he can play second base, he can play shortstop, and I really think that's why whenever he went up to AAA Oklahoma City, I think that's why he had so much success. So I'm very excited to see Elijah Hainline at the AA level. And I'll tell you another guy that I'm really, really, really excited about that got up to AA Tulsa at the end of last year. I think he probably will spend almost all of 2026 at Tulsa. This is Wyatt Crowell. And then look at that slider. That slider, thank you, CNAV, right there. That is the interview with Elijah Hainline right there. Wyatt Crowell, this guy has an incredible slider. Again, Florida State, which means he has a lot of experience. You just absolutely cannot talk to anybody that faced him. I was talking to Cam Leiter, who I'm going to interview here in a couple of weeks. The Dodgers drafted him last year, the nephew of Al Leiter, and they played together at Florida State. He went on and on about how good Wyatt Crowell is. And honestly, I've seen the video of him. I've never seen Wyatt Crowell pitch in person. I absolutely cannot wait to see Wyatt Crowell throw at the AA level with Tulsa, because that's a big one for him. I can't wait to see that slider in person, and I can't wait to see how that slider translates to the AA level. And staying on the lefty side of things, Luke Fox also made it up to AA Tulsa at the end of last year. And what I'm excited about with him, whenever I go watch Luke Fox, I'm going to turn on this is a guy out of Duke, okay? So he's a little bit older. Wyatt Crowell out of Florida State. Luke Fox and Wyatt Crowell came up to Tulsa at the end of last year at the same time. When I go watch Luke Fox, so whenever I go watch Wyatt Crowell, I'm going to make sure and find that slider, and I'm going to see it. Kind of like Edgardo Henriquez, I want to see that 94-mile bullet slider. I want to see the splitter of Roki Sasaki. I want to see the extension of Tyler Glasnow, and I just want to see the aura and the presence and the greatness of Clayton Kershaw. Check. I've gotten to do all of that. So when I go and watch Luke Fox at Tulsa this year, I'm going to sit my camera up and I'm going to push play, and I'm not going to look at my camera again, because when you watch Luke Fox, you're not going to see one particular pitch, like that little subtle cutter / slider. You're not going to see one pitch from the stands. I'm guessing, as I see him live, there's a changeup that you're going to go, woo, wow, look at that. I mean, there's no Tyler Glasnow effect or Roki Sasaki splitter effect. What I'm excited to see about with Luke Fox is just how he sets up hitters, the cerebral parts of things. I'm going to let myself dive into the game, get deep into thought into the game, and play the cat and mouse game with him as, okay, the sequencing, he went fastball away, he went slider in, he went fastball up, change up down. And I cannot wait to watch the sequencing, the intelligence, and then also the execution of Luke Fox. So there are some guys that I am very excited about that either made it up to AA Tulsa or who I think definitely will make it to AA Tulsa next year. And as far as guys that I'm very excited to see at the AAA level, let me start with one, and we've covered him quite a bit. And if you will, thank you so much, guys, for getting out that Elijah Hainline interview there and linking that. If you have not gone to the Elijah Hainline interview, please click that link and watch it. Elijah just does a wonderful job. And in same boat, CNAV or Jay, if you go grab the Patrick Copen interview, Patrick is a guy who lost his right eye. He got hit by a baseball, and he lost this sight in his last outing in 2024. Spent all of last offseason overcoming that. Got the ball on opening day 2025. Started for the Great Lakes Loons. Made his way up to AA Tulsa in June. and had some up and downs execution-wise, but overall was very good. Now, I know the stuff is there for Patrick Copen, okay? The stuff is ridiculous. The extension is good. The metrics on all of his pitches are fantastic. What I'm most excited to see about Patrick Copen, what you really start seeing at the AAA level is what he's going, and Ryan Pepio will tell you this. This was an adjustment for Ryan Pepio, is Ryan Pepio would throw a changeup 3 inches off the plate, and it would be a major league hitter that has 2,000 major league at-bats, and at the AA level, guys would swing at it. Go get that at Zach Earhart, that a baby. Went and got that ball. That's my boy Zach Earhart going and getting that in center field. A guy in AA swings at it, and it's strike one. And in AAA, you're facing a guy with 2,000 major league at-bats, and he doesn't swing at it, and it's ball one. That was a huge adjustment for Ryan Pepio. So it all comes down for Patrick Copen 100% to the execution piece. And so I am super excited. I just can't wait to watch Patrick Copen pitch against guys with 3,000 major league at-bats. That I just want to see how his execution plays against guys that have that much experience and that much plate discipline, and they're going to force him to throw strikes, okay? And then here's another guy. I'm going to throw another guy that you need to know about because he's simply fantastic. And we may get, I think I'm actually going to save my down on the farm that I had for today. I was going to have all my AAA guys. I had them all ready to go. And my quad A guys, the Hesson Kim, Alex Freeland, all those guys. I'm going to save that for my next show, my next down the farm, because we're already on a roll with guys like this. This is a great topic, Jay, so thank you for getting us into this. A guy that I'm excited to see more at Oklahoma City. We got to see him last year, and when he came up, we got to see him late. He came up, he got hot for a while, and then he cooled off, and then he came back at the end of the year. But a guy that is maybe the best defender defensively in the organization. This is Noah Miller. Noah Miller is a guy that's still young because, again, he got drafted. He did not go to college. He got drafted out of high school. He was with the Brewers, got traded over, and he, as a matter of fact, when he was with the Brewers, his last year with the Brewers in 2023, he won the minor league Gold Glove for shortstops at the high A level. Okay, Copen is a stud, yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he does against the discipline of former major league hitters at the AAA level, because I do think it's going to be an adjustment for him. So Noah Miller, maybe the best not maybe. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Best defensive shortstop in the organization. He does stuff like that, and he makes it look very, very, very easy. I'm going to go ahead and say that's not even my opinion. Look at that. That if you were to go inside the organization and ask who's the best defensive shortstop, maybe even including Mookie Betts, I think almost all of them would say Noah Miller. He's that good defensively. Okay, so look at that. I mean, that's just makes that play. That guy was safe, but that's a very difficult play. Here's another one. Look how easy he makes that look. Transition. I mean, he made that play, that hard play, look very, very simple. Okay, but it's going to come down to this for Noah Miller. Can he hit at the AAA level? So when you're with me next year and you're following the AAA Oklahoma City Comets, we know the defense is there. Follow the offense of Noah Miller. That's what I'm excited about to see with Noah Miller next year, is what type of offense can he provide? And if he can just provide league average offense, this is a guy that can be an everyday starting shortstop and be extremely, extremely productive. And I'll tell you another guy that I'm excited about seeing, not necessarily in Oklahoma City. Austin Gothard had an incredible second half of last year because he went back to his roots. In 2025, he added about 15 pounds of weight. He tried to add power because he thought that's what would get him to the major leagues faster. In about July, he found himself hitting about $190. He went back to his roots, and in the second half of the season, he walked exactly the same amount as he struck out. He hit over 300. His on-base average was incredible, and his WRC plus was like 120. So I am very excited to see if the Dodgers give Austin Gothard an actual chance to play at the major league level, because I think with the second half of last year's season and with his overall what he's done in the system, another undrafted free agent guy, just like Jack Dreyer and just like Jack Dreyer and then Lucas Webb. I'm excited to see, first of all, if he continues the momentum that he gave himself at the end of last year, and then also if the Dodgers give him a chance at the major league level. I'm also excited to see Paul Gervais, and I've already seen Paul Gervais. I know what he has to offer. What I'm most excited about is just to see if the Dodgers give him a chance at the major league level. I'm excited to see what that's Ben Rortvedt catching, by the way. Pretty incredible to think what he became, considering what he was whenever he came over to the Dodgers. And then here's another sleeper. I know we're covering a lot of names, but a guy who had a down year last year. He's been on the top 30 prospects list, but don't write him off. I think Jainer Fernandez, a guy who can play second base, catcher, I think he's a guy that I'm curious to see if he can conquer the AA level. So I'm excited to see where he starts. I don't know where he's going to start. I do think he will eventually make AAA this year. I can't guarantee you that. But I'm excited to see AA. I'm going to put it point blank. Has kicked him in the ass pretty good. I'm excited to see if Jainer Fernandez can beat AA and then how he will do in AAA if he makes it up to AAA. Because I honestly think Jainer Fernandez, with more accurate pitching, more accurate scouting reports, I think he could be a guy that actually could get better as he moved up levels. So there's a guy there. And then obviously your guys like Zach Earhart, James Tibbs, Chris Newell, guys like that, you're excited. And then coming up, maybe a Logan Wagner at the AA level, something like that. So those are the guys that I'm excited to see at the double and AAA level. I know Newell still have any hope. As a matter of fact, Chris Newell, he had an absolutely incredible second half of last season. Matter of fact, second half of last season, Chris Newell might have been the best outfielder in baseball. That's how good Chris Newell was. So yes, absolutely, Chris Newell still has a ton of hope. I'm excited to see what he can do at the AAA level, because I think what Matt is alluding to here, I think he figured it out at the AA level. So we'll see how Chris Newell can do at the AAA level. So, okay, those are the guys that I'm excited to see. That's the content I had for today. Actually, that's not. What else I had for today is I had some show vids for some different guys like Ryan Ward, Hae-Sung Kim, and Austin Gothier. I covered him. Alex Freeland, and a Noah Miller. I covered him. I had those. I'm going to save those for the next show. And to be honest, the Tulsa Drillers are going to be an interesting team in 2026. I totally agree with that. So let me do this right here. Let me put this link back in the chat right here. That is the link to join. I just put it in there. We're going to talk for a couple more minutes, and if nobody joins in, I'm monitoring right there, yes. If as a matter of fact, I have several Austin Gothier videos. CNAV, if you don't mind, could you go grab the latest Austin Gothier or Jay, the latest Austin Gothier interview? I have actually, okay, let's do this. Before we get out of here, and while I'm waiting for people to join if they want, if you could, and I'm asking a lot of you guys out there. So Chris Newell, okay, Chris Newell, Jackson Ferris, obviously I'm excited to see him pitch at the AAA level. Chris Newell, Austin Gothier, who else? Noah Miller. I have interviews for all those guys. If you have time, could you go run and link all three of those interviews? That way, whenever people, if they watch this live chat again later, they can see those. So Austin Gothier, Chris Newell, and Noah Miller, I have interviews for all of them. I also have an interview for Jackson Ferris as well. But those three guys we specifically talked about tonight while I'm waiting. I may actually, it might be easier for me to do that. Let me go ahead, give me a clunky moment while I'm waiting to see if anybody actually logs in. So here is, I can probably do this a little bit easier. This is Chris Newell here. Here is the link to the Chris Newell interview. Let's do that right there. Okay, and then let's go with, give me just a second here, and let's go with this right here. Austin Gothier, here is his interview. I'll go ahead and do that. It'll probably be easier if I do it because I can search on my own YouTube. Austin Gothier. right there. And then Noah Miller. That's what we're going to do here. And then I think that's going to be it for the night. Unless there's any more topics. Is there anybody else, prospect-wise, or any other topic you want to talk about? Let me know. Here is Noah Miller. Noah Miller. There is his interview there. Go check those out. Those are, I'm very proud of those interviews. Those were a lot of fun to do. So, okay, I don't see any more topics in the chat. I don't see anybody logging in. Hey, question 3, Casey. 3 favorite interviews from 2025. Okay, so let me do this right here. I'm going to go ahead and link that, and I'm going to do that while I am building suspense, okay? I can tell you my 2 favorites from the stadium. I think you have to go from the stadium. That's where I'm going to go at from that, because I think they were very informational, okay? This is right here. I'm going to type the name, Will Klein. I thought, I hope this didn't sound, I don't know. I just felt like I was prepared for that. I felt like I actually was able to ask questions that were informational towards his relevance to the big club. And I feel like the information that we got out of that interview actually showed with his performances with the LA Dodgers. So I think that's probably the best one that I was able to do this past year in terms of at the stadium. And then probably the second one in terms of if you just really want to dive into, okay, what is this guy? Never really heard of him. How can he help the club? I know he's talented, that kind of thing, but what exactly is he? I think Paul Gervais. I think that was a pretty informational interview that if you go back, you'll go, okay, well, this is Paul Gervais. That's who he is. These are the pitches he has. This is his background. This is his story. This is what I can expect from him in terms of the spring training. And so as far as the interviews that were done in-house that actually related to the Los Angeles Dodgers, specifically had a Los Angeles Dodgers feel to it, those are the 2 that I think I came away with thinking, okay, those were probably the best ones that I did. And then I'll tell you another one. Let me throw this one out here that I think would be relevant as we come up for next year. It was not as relevant for last year. I think Michael Kopech. I think the Michael Kopech interview, I think he diverged a lot of information on his pitching, part of his mentality, part of what makes him good, part of what happens whenever he struggles, why he struggles, situations of why he struggles. And so I think that's probably a pretty good one too. And then also I think probably the best one other than Nicholas Cruz, because we had a great interpreter, right? I think probably the best one we've done so far has been in terms of the not at the stadium would be Patrick Copen. Here's the link to that one there. And then also I think a guy that could make his way back on the comeback trail would be Peyton Martin. Let me go ahead and click that in. Let me go ahead and link the Billy Gasparino. Yeah, can you go ahead and link the Trinan and Gasparino interviews, Jay? Can you go ahead and search for that? I'm getting the Peyton Martin interview right here. We're kind of doing some work here, so sorry, this probably isn't the greatest radio. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to link you as spring training comes up. The guys that you need to know that's relevant to who you're going to see here in about a month, you can hear from them directly. So I think Peyton Martin, in terms of the ones that weren't at the stadium, I really felt like that was a really, really, really good one. And then also, I'm not going to link their interviews. Well, actually, here, this one right here. I'm very proud of this one. Definitely, if you have not yet, go check out this one right here. Read that one. Ryan Ward. Ryan Ward takes you through being labeled as bad defensively, how he deals with that, his plight here, his path here, getting put on he takes you through all of it. And I really feel like that interview does a really good job. He does a really good job of explaining where he's at and all of the possibilities for next year. So, hey, I think that's going to do it for me. We're going to go ahead and move on from there. There's the links to all the interview. I hope that wasn't too much for y'all, but wanted to kind of throw that in there as we get closer to spring training. We'll do a little bit more of that as we go on. So until next time, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been a heck of a lot of fun. And as a reminder, as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.